Yep.
Alright, good evening. It's this is the Tilton Northfield Fire Commissioners meeting. It is April 2025. April 8th, 2025. It's 5:30 p.m. We're at the Tilton Town Hall downstairs meeting room. In attendance are the three commissioners, the chief, the two deputy chiefs, Kathy and Alan. Thank you for being here. Public comment. Okay, we'll move on. Correspondence. Do we have any?
I talked to Paul Blaisdell yesterday, and he's got a few things that, because he couldn't be here, he's in South Carolina someplace, and he just wanted me to bring a couple things up.
You want to bring them up now or at the building
Yes.
committee, which is next on the...
It's about the building committee, so.
That's fine.
All right, any correspondence then?
No.
I was worried we were going to adjourn the water district meeting across the river. Same time. Same bad challenge.
All right, well, let's go to the building committee.
All right, so I met with Paul yesterday, and his main concern was that he wants to make sure that you appoint the finance committee and make sure that they, like this week, or this before the next commissioners meeting, and set up a meeting date so that they meet at least once a month. He's willing to serve on that committee as an explanation person, if anybody needs explanation. He says probably wouldn't be able to help much on the finance side of it, but that was his main thing.
Okay, well, let's take that a step further. So, last building committee meeting, this topic came up because we had thrown that out there, and Paul, as chairman of the building committee, officially asked that I bring to the commissioners the request to form a finance committee, and then we brainstormed who the committee thought would be good representatives for the committee, and we came up with a list, which I'm happy to go through, the potential folks that we thought if we could ask them and they would be willing. Tim Pearson from the Tilton Town Hall Administration, and Stephanie from the Northfield Town Hall. And then a selectman representative, and we selected Ross Cunningham and John Hanson. A building committee member, which was Lisa Martin. A commissioner, which could be me or somebody else. And then somebody to represent the fire department, the chief, the deputy chief, somebody in that position. And we didn't know if that was enough, or if we should include anybody else, but that was sort of the gist of that conversation, looking for the commissioners to decide on and agree to and appoint a committee. And I'm not sure finance is the best term for the committee, but to look at
a finance committee.
To look at creative ways to fund the project, in addition to just going out and getting a loan for it, but analyzing maybe in more detail the equipment and apparatus fund, what type of fundraising can be done. I know at the police station they did a wall of donations and stuff like that. Those kind of things that a committee could talk about, and also it would include a group of people that would help us get the word out about what's going on with the whole process.
Right.
So that was the conversation, I think, in a nutshell.
Yep.
And I was in favor of the commissioners forming that committee, and I think that we should do that.
It's almost finance/marketing.
Well, it could be, because one of the other discussions that we've had previous to that was to also have a marketing committee.
Yeah. Okay.
Which will probably should be on the agenda, if not today, but maybe next month.
Right.
So we can start brainstorming some people for that.
Mm-hmm.
And I was hoping that maybe that would be something that you could be the commissioner's rep on when we got to the marketing committee.
Mm-hmm. It's fine.
Unless. So any other thoughts on that, or and then if we decide to do that, what do we have to do as commissioners to create a committee?
Just appoint them, and the committee answers to the commissioners. It's like the building committee, it's an arm of the commissioners, and the committee serves the commissioners, basically.
Do we have to give them any, basic structure?
Well, you have to give them like a mission statement, what you want them to accomplish or work on. And-
Start date and end date, probably.
All right, well, I'll make a motion to the commissioners that we form a,
Welcome to the planning board meeting.
They'll be upstairs.
No, you can go right up
You go down the hall, take a left, and upstairs.
Alright, thank you.
Yep.
so anyway, I'll make a motion that the commissioners establish a finance committee for the purpose of moving towards the next year district meeting vote on review fire stations. Right, which has been made second. Any additional comment, questions?
No, I think you captured it
All
No, I got
right, all those in favor say aye.
all.
All those opposed, so motion carries, I say aye. So,
Now you just appoint people, and whether they accept or not is another thing.
well, I'd like to appoint all those people I mentioned. Should I contact them? Should we send them an email saying we're gonna contact them?
Usually it's good to have a personal conversation with.
Okay.
That's how I
Is that something we can appoint, or is it we have to have the moderator?
You can appoint them.
Okay, all right,
Yeah.
Committees are appointed by you.
yeah,
The moderator appoints the budget committee.
okay. Just double checking.
Can you get me contact information for, I suppose I could find all that on the websites.
No, I can get you contact information. So it's Tim, Stephanie, Russ, Lisa, who else?
John Hanson from Tilden Selectmen.
Okay.
Do you wanna be on that committee? Do you wanna have Sean on that committee?
Whatever your pleasure is.
Either or both, I don't, finance, I guess, I'd say we don't need both.
We don't need both, no. One or the other.
I guess I would say the chief for now,
Okay.
is that right?
Yeah. Unless you want to do it, Sean.
I mean, I have no problem doing it. It'd be a learning experience for me, something,
The more
that
we
I
have
haven't
Sean
done.
do it.
Alright,
Um,
that you, Sean. Is that right?
Sounds good.
Okay. And then maybe I'll get with you and we can come up with some of those details that you were just mentioning that we should.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll email you that information tomorrow.
If you think of anything after the meeting that you think would be helpful to have in my mind,
Feeling I will.
Can you just let me know? Right, the other thing the building committee worked on was we looked at the first draft of a floor plan for Sanborn Road and Park Street. The committee met and reviewed the plans, asked a lot of questions, made some suggestions. The first meeting was about Sanborn Road, so that information all went to Lorero, and Lorero has come back with a revised floor plan.
Yes, which I sent out to the building
Right.
committee, so. whatever.
And then the second meeting that they just had was spent talking about Park Street, and again, another list of questions and suggestions were made, and that was sent to Lorero, and I don't think we've heard back on that
Nothing
yet.
back yet.
So it was, I think there were productive meetings where we had, firefighters, and those in the know helped to explain to the committee members why certain things should be where they are, and then other questions about just layout and floor plan and
Right.
best use of space. So I thought they were pretty productive meetings, and hopefully the revised plans will take into consideration all that and be workable.
Yeah, one of the things you gotta remember is that as they come back, we'll look at them and say they might still need to be adjusted and stuff like that. But our next building committee meeting is the 28th, so we got a couple weeks before. I'm sure I'll get the Park Street plan revised plan back before that next meeting. If we don't, well, it doesn't make any sense to have a meeting,
Right.
but I think we will.
So, once we, and there's been a lot of discussion about what we think the cost is gonna be, and Laura was trying to answer some of the other questions, because some of the things that the Park Street talked about, it's currently a 2-floor station, and what things need to be on which floor, and how big the footprint's gonna be, and of course, all that impacts the cost.
Right.
So we don't, we're not in a position yet where they can give us some cost estimates.
That's it, yeah.
Anything else you want to add? You were at those meetings.
No, no, I've, inside, I've sent it out to the 4 officers to have them, like, look at the Sanborn Road plan so far, and I know they're giving feedback through Derek, so that feedback is making its way back through Derek, and he'll bring that feedback from the 4 officers to the committee on that April 28th. I unfortunately won't be there, I'll be on vacation, but I believe we have one immediately following the next week also.
And I'll plan on being there the 28th.
Okay.
I was unable to
They
make the
missed it.
last one. Yeah, I wanted to be there.
All right, perfect. Thank you.
I think the one thing we have to realize is that we're never gonna get everybody to agree on a single thing. There's always 1 or 2 people that have differing opinions about something, but we're gonna go with the majority kind of vote.
Can I ask one question?
Yeah.
Why a second floor?
Because of the amount of available land down there, and the to spread the building out will increase the site work cost. So then it's a trade-off, which is least costly to increase the site work cost or increase the building cost. Because when you go to the second floor, you've got to add a staircase and an elevator and things like that. So. And that was one of the questions we asked, and we're waiting to hear back. They went with a 2-floor solution to work with the most buildable part of the property.
Cost-wise, it would be cheaper that way than,
Especially if you have to do a lot of soil removal and retaining and new soil. The lot slopes away there in the back.
Yeah, the perfect world, you'd have 2 nearly identical stations, but
The land
the
doesn't.
parcels don't speak to that.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
The land at Park Street is, you know, from the street you drive by, you think it's flat, it's not even close.
Yeah.
It's not even close. And all the soil from the testing, it's not structural soil. It
Yeah.
has to be removed. They have to bring new stuff back in, compact
A lot
it
of
in
pilings
layers.
and, yeah.
And probably not do it with pilings,
Yeah.
but they still have to build a retaining wall around the left side and back
Yeah.
to make it level, because it's just that far off.
Wow.
It looks level until you go out and measure.
Yeah, well, until you actually walk it,
Yeah.
it drops off 7 feet as you're going down, so.
So that, I think, I don't know unless you have any other questions. That was one of the questions we asked, and we're waiting to hear back on that. Because we also talked about, rotating spaces, and if you had garage doors on this side of the building instead of coming out the front, and you did parking over there. And so we'll trust in their site evaluation as to how best we can put a building on the property. We did also talk about the highway department property, and the fact that we tend to drive through the highway department property to get to the parking spaces, and if that wasn't available to us, because Town Northfield would maybe do something with that property in the future, I'm sure that they would obviously keep us in consideration so that it still operate. One of the other concerns was parking. If you're going to have any sort of meeting there, or
Demonstration.
right, you have to have parking for people coming in to get fire permits or whatever. You need parking for the staff. You need,
Handicap parking, all that kind of stuff.
yeah.
Have to meet all the current codes.
So when you go down there now for anything, everybody's parked over at the DPW, which is fine if it's a 6 o'clock meeting or whatever, training session. They're closed, but, right.
So, yeah, we're curious to see what comes back.
Yep.
And I'm sure there'll be adjustments with that as well.
All right, any other building committee? Okay, moving on, chief's report.
I sent the report out last Friday, I believe. And I'm happy to go over it, but if you guys have any questions, it'd be easier to just answer questions.
Well, I guess I'll drop this in. You said Northfield DPW, where did things land with the offer, the agreement to fit the garage to work on the trucks?
So,
Is that sitting in Attorneyville or?
Yes,
Okay,
in Northfield's Attorneyville.
okay,
So our attorneys have looked at it.
yep,
It's gone back and forth a couple times
Right.
because they don't agree about this or that, and they work it out, and it's been, now it's in their hands.
okay.
Call Stephanie and see where that is too.
Has there been any update from the tower folks about getting any additional subscribers on that tower?
They haven't reached out to me about it.
I guess I'm a little surprised that there hasn't been more activity.
Yeah, I thought there'd be more customers on it than now.
Homeland Security group stuff, what, place the order. How long does that take to get all that stuff?
So it's the microwave and radio equipment.
Mm.
Some of the microwave equipment's already in.
Oh.
The vendor has it. We've
Yeah,
already
yeah.
been billed for it and we paid for it.
Yeah.
I've already requested reimbursement for it.
Yeah.
But the radio parts aren't in yet.
Mm.
So I've contacted our vendor on it and he says, wait.
Yeah.
They're pretty sharp. As soon as something
Is
is
it-
coming in, they let me know.
All right, they're not like in the weeds, it's been, they've been okay with stuff, or in
Yes.
general?
Yeah.
The Park Street Station, old rescue door pavement problem?
Yes.
How big of a problem is that?
Oh, it's the runoff from the roof went down the gutter and alongside the pavement that was put down, what, 7 or 8 years ago, and it undermined the pavement, and the pavement collapsed down. I called Chris from Porter Paving, come in and take a look at it, and he says what really needs to happen is we need to put a drain on that and pipe it in underneath so that the runoff goes underneath everything, and then they can fix the pavement part. If they fix the pavement part now, it'll just happen again.
Is there a gutter on the whole side of the building?
Mhm.
Yes.
So the gutter comes down, and it's always, it's aimed towards the shed, because it used to be aimed towards the DPW, and you hit it with the plow because you couldn't see it when you were plowing. And so when it got removed, we got moved when we paved it, so over the year, 4 or 5 years since we paved it, it's started to undermine. It is, Deputy, we were looking at it yesterday, it's a section probably 8 by 4 by 8
Yeah.
section. So what the solution's gonna be is to basically saw that off in that 4 by 8 section. And there's no one parks there, no trucks drive there. And then when we re-divert it back the other way, we're gonna divert it back. And actually Christian's gonna help us out. So we talked to one of our call members who has access to a lot of that stuff. So I believe he's working with Captain Ames. If he can't do it, then we can reach out to Ken.
The idea is to put some type of drainage pipe under and get it down into the drainage ditch, hopefully.
So it's not anywhere we drive, it's not anywhere we park, thankfully, it's just a small. So currently, we did re-divert it, it's headed towards, because we don't plow anymore, the hope, if we have to plow again.
Yeah, right.
But right now, it's heading back towards the DPW for a while, until we fix that problem.
Currently working on that first item, that's the maintenance agreement that you were just referring to?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. Intermunicipal agreement.
All right, anything else on any of these other items? We talked
No,
about
well, the .gov migration is actually happening this week.
Started this afternoon.
Yes.
Started this afternoon, actually, and so our emails are changing, our website is changing. Both things will work for a while. I don't know what they say for several months.
The .org will continue to work until we no longer carry the website through.
Like GoDaddy or
GoDaddy.
who owns it, yeah.
Yeah. But that's, he said that's not that expensive to carry it forever.
Well,
Right.
I think we've decided, the commission decided that we're gonna keep it so no one else grabs it.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
it's cheap.
It is very inexpensive.
they should be able to
They just mirror you right over.
transfer
Yes,
it over.
yeah.
Seriously. The new CAD system, that's been in place for a while. It says operating awareness and integration with the new CAD system.
So we're integrating the MDTs within the vehicles now, and so that's a new process. So,
I've been working with Captain Gilman, myself, and the deputy have been working together through policy. Actually, I just sent the policy half an hour ago to the career officers to review the policy. If there's no changes, we should be next Wednesday, I think I said. So that new policy. So the MDTs, what it is basically, it's an iPad.
Right.
And we can do a lot. We can sign on, respond. We can get updates for medical without talking over the radio. We can go in service. We can do a lot of. We responded to chimney fire today. I responded on the radio, but when I got there, I signed on with the iPad and I signed in service with the iPad, so there's no radio traffic. And we're working on it. It's a work in progress. There was a lot of things I didn't think of, and the deputy helped me out, and I think we got a pretty good plan going forward.
Yeah, I represented the call side of things in communications, because they're great and reduce communications. However, there's information that a call guy needs to hear, when dispatched. And so we fine-tuned it, so we got it so that the call person will be, well informed as it escalates or de-escalates,
Yeah, I was hearing about the system. It sounds pretty
Yeah.
impressive.
and like by that call today, I did everything by the iPad, but after he said he was responding on the air, he repeated that I was responding and he was responding, and I didn't say anything, but they knew I was going. Kind of related is that yesterday there was the groundbreaking for the new comm center up in Laconia, and everybody of importance was there, the governor and everybody else.
So does that app that I'm running on my phone, is some of that become obsolete?
No, because the iPads are only there's 6 vehicles. The 4 first due the 2 first due ambulances, 2 first due engines, the chief's car and my car. Right now are the only ones with the MDT. So the call members, anybody else responding, will still use and that also that tells people when the tone goes out, the deputy, Dwayne, Tom, they can respond on that app, and it allows the officer to know who's coming and who's not coming. The deputy can make a decision: am I going to be command right now, or do I need to go pick up a truck? Using that app, so there's a lot of functionality in that app.
So like today, going to that chimney fire, you could look at it and see that nobody on the call company was coming into the ladder, so the deputy diverted the 2 guys in the ambulance, go get the ladder truck.
And then Dwayne obviously signed on 30 seconds after.
Yeah.
Not even. I was like, well, Dwayne could have got it, but already
Yeah,
converted
you
him.
can't, you can't wait forever.
Yeah.
Alright, so, yeah, I saw Dwayne log on, but
Yeah.
all that other communication isn't in the.
No,
Yeah.
no. But that also gives us, which the MDT doesn't, that app will give us a phase 2 911 location for medical calls if your phone is capable of it, which is really nice. Sometimes, you get an address, but it's not actually where you are. You might be off in the woods somewhere, and they'll give you the closest address and so stuff like that. So the app is still pretty useful for messaging and all other things. And it's fairly inexpensive for, I believe, for what we get out of it.
Yeah.
Nice. That's good to know. I guess over the years, all these things that have been added to improve communication, especially with, between command and the firefighters at the scene and the trucks.
Situational awareness stuff, really good.
Come a long way in 25 years.
Well, it has, but there's still nothing quicker than squeezing that microphone. There's no dialing, there's no clicking on an app. You squeeze it, and the message gets through.
Waiting, spinning,
Exactly,
waiting.
yeah.
But, so some of the bigger calls where I'll pull up Lakes Region and listen, it's amazing how many, calls overlap and they have to ask for clarification. I would assume some of this would eliminate that.
Yep. And again, with the large call, what really matters is what's going on at the scene.
Right.
And if you get walked over and you're trying to get a ladder to the second floor to get somebody out, and somebody's beeping and doing woo-woos, you may not get that message through.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, it's really that first 2 command officer and first 2 truck, that's the radio traffic. The other 9 trucks, if they can just sign on with MDT, it's saving all that radio
Exactly.
communication
Right.
and leaving it open for the command staff and that first 2 apparatus. And that's-
Interesting. Not like how it was back in the old days, huh, Paul? All right. Succession plan, training opportunities?
Yeah, so, working with Primex and other organizations to get people who want to become officers or higher up, chief officers, the training that they need to be successful in those positions. And, like I said, some of the National Fire Academy was a big part of that, but that's closed right now.
That's one of the things you were going to do.
Yeah, it's too bad. It's I am currently getting my fire administration degree through Columbia Southern University, but that would have been an awesome. I would have actually gotten graduate credits for that too to apply to that degree that I'm getting. But
We put a big push on all the different fire organizations, the International Association of Firefighters, International Association of Fire Chiefs, National Volunteer and Call Fire Department Association, all lobbying all our legislatures to get that thing back open. It's like eliminating the Naval War College for the Navy. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
And I don't know how effective it's going to be. I think it'll reopen. I just don't know when. It's just the government. It was a victim of Doge.
and with who? That's the problem. Is the
Well, so I
staff.
mean,
Yeah.
if the FEMA is getting shut down, where's it gonna go? Where would they move it to?
Well, like the library staff were all told to go home and not come back, and so they've all gotten other employment. So when we open, if we open, that library is actually where I got the material that I gave to you today. That library provides documentation for fire prevention officers throughout the country, and without them, and so all those librarians were told to go home and don't come back, and so they're all gotten other employment. It's too bad. That National Fire Academy is such a
Really, yeah.
amazing facility, and it's too bad.
And any other update from state and insurance?
No. The only, I have a meeting Thursday morning with Senator Lang, just to find out what his take is on it, and also on ambulance legislation. Tomorrow, I'm meeting with the governor's staff regarding the ambulance legislation, to educate them on what's going on, what's good and what's bad of the two different bills that are in the legislature right now. Just hope the right stuff happens. Can't guarantee anything. I don't know how some of these folks, even though they're educated, they still vote the wrong way. But then you find out the reason they vote in the wrong way is because it's a deal that they'll get something else that they want the other way.
All right, anything else for the chief? See, Paul, you've got a page full. So do you have anything else for the chief?
With your permission, Tim, I'd like to say publicly what we had just talked about earlier with the relief associations for the support, so that you're aware of it and the public's aware of it, that we had a firefighter with a sibling who was diagnosed with cancer, unable to work. So the Relief Association has been providing funding in the form of gift cards to grocery stores. We don't give cash. And we've been funding about $100 a week for the last 5 weeks. And the Union Association also, pitched in the funds that they raise to help out that family also.
Great.
And in the past, we had firefighters, current and past, diagnosed with cancer, and helped support that. And in one case, we had a police officer that we worked very close with that had a kidney issue. I think we bought him 500 gallons of heating oil when he was out. So the Relief Association, has the funds that they raise, and every now and then we get a chance to expend and help somebody else.
That's great. Good to hear. Thank you for sharing that. You all set for Old Home Day?
Yeah,
Gonna do fried dog again this year?
we're going to give it a try as long as we can get the oil close enough, because that's always a good boost. Yeah.
Do you have your Hawaiian shirt?
Yes.
Hawaiian
Oh
oil?
yes. Yeah.
Good. Well, thank you. All right, anything else on the chief's report? All right. Yeah.
I could bring this up under new business.
All right, old business fire prevention trailer. Were you able to?
So I went digging and I found all the old, because it was purchased with a Fire Act grant. I was actually going to hopefully ask for Jason's opinion and expertise on this, because I think you deal with this kind of stuff. So this is from FEMA, because FEMA runs the Fire Act grant. So I actually need FEMA's permission, I believe,
Dispose of it?
to dispose of it. I think, because it was worth more than $5,000 when it was bought, but it's probably worth less than $5,000 now. So I need to reach out to the FEMA grant coordinator, I believe, Jason, and I did.
Yeah, these are all a little different, and sometimes it's, after so many years of ownership, you want it outright. You can,
And I went digging
disposition
through,
is
I started reading the CFR 200.1, and I just got really lost.
Yeah.
So I was hoping you might have a little more guidance, but we have the title, I have all the grant paperwork, actually from 2003. I went, dug all that out, so I have everything from Linda Wilking, who's the actual person who got the grant. Kathy helped me find all this, and so I have all that information. And so
That was 2003?
2003 is when we put in for the grant. And in 2006 it was still open because they were trying to close it. I had documentation from that, but it was, and the actual purchase price, it was $44,547.
And what was the date?
That date, the actual date of delivery was, looks like 2/16/2005. The grant was put in 2003.
All right, so we can't take action at this time?
I think I need FEMA's permission to take action, but I was hoping once I have FEMA's permission, if I could just list it.
So
Put that
he
on.
needs permission from the commissioners to ask FEMA permission to dispose of it.
Well, I make a motion, you pursue this with FEMA for final disposition.
All right, I'll second that.
Because in your page 2, it's current fair market value of less than 5 may be retained, sold, or otherwise disposed of. So, if you've owned it for what, 20 years?
20 years.
Yes, yeah.
I mean, I've never seen these things sell for more than that anyway. Yeah, it may be a very quick answer from them, especially if they're low on help.
And it does say if I haven't heard back in 120 days, then I can do whatever I want.
Yeah.
I think that's probably what's
Yeah.
gonna happen.
All right, so we have a motion to continue looking into FEMA requirements. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. You put that on the agenda for next week?
I have the guys, Boston, the area, but.
You have it.
I have all that stuff. There's a
Yes, I
guy
have the
assigned to
documentation.
New Hampshire, Vermont, and Maine, yeah, but he works in Boston.
Okay.
They all work in Boston.
The other side of this too is we could proceed, you could get it on municipal bid, and if it falls on its face at $2,000, and you tell FEMA, hey, listen, we have this thing out in the open, public, competitive bid environment, and fair market values, the market has spoken, you know. Because we still have to vote and approve to sell it when it, like we do with the rescue truck, doesn't matter what the price is, we have final right of refusal, so. But, you know, between now and the next meeting, you know, this can solve itself.
Yeah, right. I asked Kathy to put it on the agenda for the next meeting.
Yeah.
All right, any other old business? All right. Right, new business. Review and sign policies. So, you should have received the 3 policies in question in the email with notes about why you were receiving those.
And then the chief included in the packet as well.
Yeah. So, where's that? All right, so let's take these one at a time. Ambulance revenue receivables policy.
Just the highlighted section in yellow.
Change the language, right?
Change the language at the district meeting.
Right, and I was reading through it, and I just had I'm overthinking this, but under the procedures section, the last bullet point, when the insurance sends payment of the ambulance bill to the patient, which they shouldn't be doing anymore, but if they do, and they do not pay their ambulance bill, the patient will be sent to collections for the amount they received from the insurance company. Aren't they
They'll be
sent?
sent a bill more than anything. They sent the bill first, and they're billed actually twice. And if they don't respond, then it comes back to disposition.
But that's how all of them are handled.
Yes.
Right.
But it doesn't clearly say that in the policy, so I don't know if it needs to say that in the policy. The policy more, it sort of covers where the money's going that we receive, and why we have the policy, and then what we do on a monthly basis, but it doesn't really detail how the billing is handled, and maybe it doesn't need to.
It says it in
In the
the
Town
ambulance,
Star.
ambulance billing policy. It says that. It says that procedure.
Okay. That's right, we have another policy.
Yes, we
Yes.
do.
All right, then I withdraw my question, thank you for answering that. So we need a motion to,
I'll make a motion we accept the new policy, the way it's written.
Second?
okay, we have a motion made and seconded, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Right. Is this-
Kathy has this, the ones.
I
you
have the
to
ones to sign.
Okay.
Ambulance, there you go. Safe paper. It's okay. Doesn't matter.
Ooh, we got our middle initials in on that one.
Yes, I got fancy.
Good.
All right, the second one I want to talk about is the unassigned fund balance policy.
I didn't print one out for signatures because we were going to talk about it tonight.
So, at the end of the packet, the chief has attached a memo. And then you have a copy of the policy attached.
Oh, I did print it out, just in case.
Sorry, reading through the policy, it all seems to make perfect sense. The question then becomes, do we want to maintain the current percentage, or do we want to change the percentage?
Well, I think the spirit, yeah, but I think is it in here?
It's in the packet I sent you. The
very-
email, I don't know if it's in the printed.
And I
It
think I read-
it is in that printed packet, the very last
Yes,
page.
yes.
All right, I saw the memo before anyway.
Well, I think from a, well, I don't know, you want to speak, Jason?
No, I think the spirit of this is a not to exceed, you know, and if it ever, I don't know if the policy specifically governs, if it exceeds 16 point.
Yeah, it does.
We,
The-
yeah,
the
that's what I
policy-
mean, is like, that's, it doesn't mean that we have to have that number, but if we if we approach that, then that's the trigger to return money to the tax rate.
Right.
And talking about the, you know, listening to the selectmen in Northfield say, oh, we thought we could live with 5. How do you do that? How do you pay all your bills, and how do you keep payroll and trucks and everything going? And 5, you know, less than 1 month of revenue in your books. That, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what I don't get, you know? It's 2 tax bills a year, and I don't get it. I don't know how they.
Right, right.
I mean, how do you, no.
So when you read the policy and you read the supporting documentation, it makes perfect sense to me that you would want to have 2 months' worth of
Operating expense.
available to
Yeah.
you in your checkbook. You know, and we all do that in our home budget, right? You know, it's not unrealistic.
I was just gonna say, why don't you strike the last sentence? The percentage will be whatever 2 months of the recent, it says right here, the recent voted operating budget. So you have a voted operating budget of, what was it?
The last one was 3.7 or something.
An operating budget,
Yes.
Right.
not all the funny
Yeah,
business
no,
that
it's
goes
just
on.
the
the
operating
operating.
budget.
Okay,
Yeah.
so divide that by 12 and multiply by 2, and then
That's
the
16%.
Yeah, it comes
Yeah.
up to 16%.
That's why that's for the, yeah. So you never have to change the dollar amount if it's percentage.
But I'm just saying that that whole sentence is pointless. And it causes you to go back and address the percentage all the time when you've already stated it has to be 2 months equal to the most current. That's all.
Yeah, I spoke with a selectman from another town up north, and they try to have more, but they don't.
Yeah.
And he says, we never get to our,
Target.
yeah,
Yeah.
but it's not like we ever have a discussion about it either. We know that there's a target, and we manage. I think it does come into play if they're trying to use some of that money to offset the tax rate.
Right.
Now all of a sudden your policy comes into play.
And really, where you're gonna get a windfall into that unassigned fund balance is if you have an inflated operating budget and you don't spend it all. You raise and appropriate and you underspend, and then that leftover is where it goes to your unassigned fund balance.
That's how we got to where we are
Yeah,
now.
you
over-
continue,
Over
you
the
know.
course of years.
Yes, and the tighter the budget gets and the closer you get to spending, you're at 99% of your spend to budget. There isn't gonna be, you know, left over.
Right.
Because you have a budget committee and a budget process and a town, you know, a district meeting.
I thought it was kind of entertaining because somewhere in here it says that about putting a line in your budget so that you can accuse
So you
them.
can fund the unassigned fund balance, it doesn't, you know.
Yeah,
it's
the
like-
plan to achieve the minimum.
Right.
You know, and you see it in other situations, like the PD had all those vacancies, you know, until there was kind of a shakeup a couple of years ago, and there was a lot of vacancies and a lot of unexpended payroll. The selectmen came back and said they were gonna buy trucks,
Right.
you know, instead of,
Well, one good budget.
you know.
And they can.
And they can, because that's how they buy trucks, not, you know, but, or a half a truck, or a truck and a half, whatever it was, but it was like, hey, wait a minute, that's unassigned fund balance, that's money you didn't spend, or, you know, the school district funds every single teaching position, but they don't fill them, they raise and appropriate the money, and then they don't get to fill all the spots they underspend. But,
And you can find all these examples at the school and at the town,
yeah.
but I think we're in a little different
This
situation.
is tough.
because
You got a guy out, you fill the shift with overtime, so
Right.
you're
Yeah.
not breaking even, it's costing you
It's
more.
costing more, right,
You
and we
know.
don't even budget for all the.
We don't budget for our liability, we budget for what we think is
We
gonna
think,
happen.
right, yeah, your full exposure is
Yeah.
many times
Substantially
over.
higher, right.
Yeah.
We always
So,
have a budget.
Totally side question, I mean, yeah, so, say a career firefighter's out and you fill it, is it anybody, or can a captain fill that spot, or do you try to get a firefighter in there?
So we try to do it like equal rank for equal rank,
Yeah.
but there are times when we have to move somebody up in rank, and there are times when we have to have a higher rank move, work at a
Yeah,
lower.
just you
It's-
could have-
We just don't have the
You could have
volume.
two captains on a shift, because that's who was able to do it.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Doesn't happen often.
Yeah.
That's-
We go through and if we haven't filled it 7 days out, we
Yeah.
will go to that point.
Yeah.
But we try, you know, it's,
Yeah,
we try not to do
Makes
it.
sense. Because yeah, if you bring a captain down, I mean, that kind of burns him out for when he comes on to lead his shift too, right? You don't want to, you know, run people too hard.
Well, my default feeling is to not change the policy.
No, we can always leave it, but speak to it, say, hey, great, if we ever hit that, great. We'll certainly, you know, shoot the padlock off the checkbook and send money back to the tax rate. But I think in the environment that it is in, as tight as the budget is being maintained and spent, and then warrant articles get kind of juggled around and decide, you know, the voting body decides to pay for them out of that fund, which we've seen.
Well, and the only buffer in the whole budget would be the contingency fund, which is funded out of the fund balance.
Yes.
Right.
So it's not like, you know, price of diesel fuel doubles and we go over budget. We can just find it somewhere else, there's not a lot of places.
Right.
And this is the only way, the contingency fund is the only way we can use money out of the fund balance.
Right.
And, you know, as the year goes along and see how it's going along, I manage the budget, so
Oh,
we
yeah.
don't have to, you know, we start cutting programs that, you know, we don't cut essential services, but we cut all the other stuff to get to the point where we're not getting into the contingency fund. I hope to never have to do that, but, you know, it's there in case we do have to.
Right. Well, we've come close, I mean, there's times when we sat down and you had repair lines in the trucks and stuff.
Yeah.
Now that that's in the apparatus fund, that takes a little bit of sting out of.
It does. We're in a very fortunate position the way our apparatus and equipment fund
Right.
is funding our operating budget.
Right, and even having the tower fund be able to defer some repairs, because
Yeah.
you can never forecast repairs, you can never forecast truck problems. So to have that in a different place,
Right.
an operating budget should be what it takes to run the business, not the unexpected, right? You
Right.
want to have all the predictables in your operating budget, you know, so that would make no sense. You don't want to have you don't want to budget for things you don't think are going to happen, because that's,
And we don't.
yeah, you don't, we can't, we're at that point.
Paul,
It's
your
pretty
thoughts?
streamlined.
No, I have no problem with that. I think it's,
If we're not making any changes, we don't need to take any action.
Does it need an annual signature, like that
Yes,
one?
please. Sign away.
We don't need a motion.
Did change.
Didn't change. We're just reviewing and keeping it the same.
One of these policies required us to review it every year.
That's the investment policy.
Yes. So the investment policy, you were making corrections to some grammatical errors?
Yes, it was nothing really. It was like a word was spelled wrong or
We're not changing,
punctuation was missing.
nothing substantial is changing the policy, even intent or anything like
There
that.
seems
It's
like
just,
a lot in this policy.
Well, it has
there
to
is,
be.
that, it's required. When we have our audit, they go through that to make sure that
It was
meets
fun
the
writing it.
standards. No, it wasn't.
It didn't take me long.
You got 100% in here, I like it.
Oh, yes, that was like, there was a space between the 0 and the percentage mark, and
That's all there was.
Doesn't even look like a 1.
I know.
It's like an I.
So the fact that we re-signed
You can
this
change
is
the
what
font.
changes
Yeah.
the revision date?
Yes. That and the fact that I,
Well,
made a couple little changes, you'll see that 100% is highlighted,
It does, doesn't it?
make it,
They spelled the term wrong? Oh, that's still on this one. A, B, C, D, C, F. Are those supposed to be
what page?
12?
No, determining is right.
No, but the corresponding letters. A, B, C, D, C, and F.
It should be E.
That should be an E.
It should be an E.
Indeterminate.
Mm. Last page, of course.
I didn't get it. I missed that.
That's why you keep looking
You're not
it over.
alone.
Every time you read it, you'll find another spelling mistake.
So that's the only thing you found. That's good.
I didn't see that when I went through it.
You didn't see it the first time?
The first time I went through it.
I didn't see it the second time or the third.
So nothing changed on this one.
No.
No.
Do you want to sign that or do you want to correct that?
Everything but last page can be signed. I'll bring that to the last page to the next meeting
Okay.
with the correction.
Okay.
So let me cross that and give an E. So don't sign the last page.
Well, if we're going to sign the last page, why don't we just do
Just
the
wait.
next time?
Okay, we'll do that.
Shebang.
All right.
All right. Hear that?
The other thing I had under new business is, since we're paying for water on the fill lines, sometimes people come to us to fill their tank for one thing or another. The street sweepers, things like that, that are sweeping for the towns, do we want to charge them for the water that we give them?
How often does that happen?
I don't know.
How do we know how often that happens?
Well, no, they have to
They
come
have
to
to
us,
come in.
because it's locked.
It's locked.
They can't do
They
it
can't
without.
get in.
The
without
old
the
system, they could get it from the outside.
Is it just the town though?
No,
No.
it's all
No.
private. Like
Private.
they filled the boilers at the estate the other day, and then they came, and hopefully it was, I had them fill out a mechanical permit, I charged them for a mechanical
You
permit.
charged them $30.
So they took 750 gallons of water.
I mean, my philosophy is, the town, we're all part of the town. Why would you want to charge them?
But there wasn't, like, it's not the town, it's like,
Oh, but if it's private, I have no problem charging someone private.
Yeah, but you're saying like if the town hires a street sweeping company to come
Oh.
sweep the
Okay.
streets
Yep,
and they need water,
So the town pays them, we should get paid for the water.
Well, why aren't they over in the DPW to get water?
But is
Yeah.
there an alternative with a metered hydrant that the water department takes care of? Why do we need to even get involved with it?
Right, that was my next question, like, we're
I
not,
think
we're
we're
not in
the-
the water business.
Yeah.
I think we're the only ones with a fill, that's kinda why they come to us.
Yeah, and it's just,
Nobody else has.
Other than that, it's a garden hose.
Yeah, 750 gallons for a garden hose, take a while.
Yeah, for us it takes
Well-
a minute and a half, 2 minutes, not long. 2 minutes.
I mean, they get paid, I mean, if it's a private company, they are getting paid for it. I mean, if they didn't get it from us, they'd have to go somewhere.
Right.
Yep.
right, and I'm sure the town would contract them to do it.
I'm sure they get paid, yeah.
You know.
Town contract, it's not the town doing it. They don't have the equipment doing
No,
it.
no, 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 but
But who else might come and get water? How often does this happen?
If I had to guess, 5-6 times a year, right?
Yeah,
It's
about
maybe, yeah, it's not, it's usually street sweepers, somebody with a tank cleaning service, or, this is the first time I've had a boiler filled, but it's a large boiler, and they just wanna, there's usually, yeah, like a tank cleaning company or a street sweeper, those are typically the ones.
And we have to pay for it, why shouldn't they?
well,
Yeah.
not so much to pay for it, but the inconvenience, because you'd have to bill them for it. I'm just surprised that the water company just doesn't have it.
How much does
Why are you
750
surprised?
gallons worth of
Well,
water cost?
Not a
Yeah,
lot.
I guess you're right.
I think it's, you
Back
figure
into the
it's like a
cubic
couple
feet and
bucks.
look at the
We
cubic
never
foot
figured it
rate.
out.
Could be, okay, I thought we got close, it was.
No,
It's like 0.07 cents per gallon. I think it's like 0.00 cents. So it's not even a penny per gallon, right? It's somewhere, right? Am I,
Because we get billed by cubic foot.
yeah, cubic foot, we had to figure it out.
And the rate is based on 100 cubic feet. It used to be $4.57 for 100 cubic feet.
Yeah, we
And
had,
it's gone up 33% because they did that across the board.
I mean, the way I look at it, what if I started a business filling swimming pools, and I came down there because I can get free water?
Yeah.
it's a convenience. We're providing a convenience. We could call it a convenience fee.
yeah. There is other people around who just will stop at a fire hydrant like behind the business and do it. We found that over at Home Depot.
Home Depot,
Those
yeah.
Home Depot hydrants aren't off the municipal system, they're off their tank. When you open them, it starts the fire pump, and they burn the fire pump up and cost Home Depot a whole lot of money by opening that fire hydrant up and not telling anyone.
Oops.
Yeah, it was, I think that was
In the
was that a
water.
paving company? Was it a paving? That was
Oh,
last year. It was
yeah,
last
I
year. I
don't
think it was
know.
a paving company who did it.
Well, and the water company has flow metering sensors on the Home Depot system.
Yes.
It goes right to John's phone.
Yeah.
When I still worked there, they were prototyping and testing it. It was one of
The SCADA system.
the, yeah, it was right to an app.
So, for an example, we used 108 cubic feet at Park Street, and it cost us $6.99.
Yeah, but it cost you $53 to send the bill, didn't it? Wouldn't it? I mean, it's nice to be a good neighbor, but I don't understand, this is something that paving companies do when you get together with the water department. Sure, we'll put a temporary meter on the hydrant for you and come get it.
And, they work all over the state, so every municipality, every city's gonna be different, right? You're gonna have city water, you're gonna have Pennachuck, you're gonna have, some are city-owned, some aren't. It'd be weird, but they don't know the difference. Huh. I'll have to think about that.
Yeah, I don't know if it's, are we being taken advantage of, or is it so infrequent, or as Paul would say, if the city's contracted somebody to do street sweeping, I mean, we're part of the community as well, but right, if,
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's like I say, they're getting paid, and if they couldn't get it from us, they're gonna have to go somewhere, whether they buy it or go to the, I mean, I don't think you should overcharge them, but I think some type of fee.
But right, but if it's, how much does it cost to charge them $30?
So, I'm having a flashback, quick story. Academy Street with the hill and the retaining wall and all that.
Yeah,
It was
that's
gonna
all.
be, right? So they were gonna do couple of years ago, they're gonna resurface the road, so the call went out to all the, utilities, get your stuff done, so sewer commission, because the pipe was way down under the ground, so rather than excavate the pipe up, we did a lining. We did a pipe burst, or we relined it with the epoxy sleeve. The vendor needed water to flush the line, get it, check for infiltration, and plus they were doing the stub outs to after that, once you seal the line, now you gotta go and poke holes in it for your lateral back to the property. They needed water to flush the line, and the water company refused the water. They had to go to Franklin Fire Department to get water. So, to your point, go to the water company. I know what the answer was.
Well, I mean, it could very well be.
Yeah, I
very
remember
well
that.
be.
Like, you couldn't get water from the water company. These poor guys had to drive to take their little landscaping trailer with their tank, and they went to Franklin, did us a solid couple hundred gallons. Where do you get water when you need it? Right? You'd think going to the water company would be but that was then. I guess we'll just have to see how it goes this year, right?
They're not gonna let you crack a hydrant unless it's during the hydrant flushing period.
Yeah.
Things you never think of.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I know I paid a guy $700 to fill my pool.
Well, I was gonna say,
You go down and find it out and get the water.
Yeah, you better.
we had a property up in Maine. I take my camper up there and leave it parked for the summer, and just water not to drink. But I filled the tank with water, but I didn't want to tow it all the way up to the water because it's like an 80-gallon tank. So the little fire station there, volunteer fire station, they had a spigot out back, and I stopped one day and firemen were there, and I said, "It's all right if I bring my camper by and fill up the tank?" "Oh, sure, no problem."
Yeah.
So the first year I did that, no problem. The second year, there's a big sign on the back of the building that says non-potable water.
You're right.
Oops, and a camera. But yes, I guess, water is
And filling pools is not cheap. That's a cost.
I've never had anybody come to ask to fill a pool.
No,
Well, they call the station all the time, we always say no.
Yeah. So the other side of that is, so, a water customer would use the garden hose to fill their pool, and it racks up their water bill. And then if they're on town sewer, their
Racks up
sewer
their
billing,
sewer bill
their
too.
sewer billing is based on the metering that the sewer commission buys the numbers from the water district. So then they come to us, they come to sewer for an abatement, saying, well, I didn't use, it was to fill the pool. And then we say, well, do the measurement, call the swimming pool water company. And it was like, they're like, yeah, okay, you're right. It was so much less for them to pay for the water out of the spigot and to pay the sewer bill tied to that than to get trucked in water.
And sometimes the town water's not as clean as the pool water is.
Sometimes the pool water's green, or you just draw it out of a pond or something, you don't know. But
Oh, yeah, no,
sometimes it's treated, sometimes it depends who you-
$350 for 6,000
Yeah.
gallons, and he went up to Silver Lake.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sometimes they
that's-
bring it and it's chlorinated, it's all ready to go. Yeah,
Because I've seen people fill pools out of a hose and you can't see the bottom.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, it comes out orange.
yeah, 'cause you're stirring everything up and the.
But anyway. So is the consensus,
Wait and see, if it gets out of hand. Then.
I guess it'd be interesting to know though, maybe, instead of trying to rely on a mental remembrance of how often it happened, is maybe start documenting.
Just hang a clipboard over it. Who, what, when?
Or they could just fill out a permit, and it's a different permit for, like, furnaces versus that type of thing.
Yeah.
We have one permit where you just write in what it is, and then we could just write it in what it is at no charge.
Yeah.
Just keep track, that way we can keep
Keep
track of
track.
I
it.
think
Yeah.
you'll find over the years, though, what's gonna happen is, I went to the fire department, I got all my water down there, got 800 gallons of water, they never charged me a
Well,
dime.
but I mean, I go back to the thing where you're gonna have to do some invoicing. We're gonna have to send somebody down there to unlock the door and open things up.
Well,
Number one, either don't get involved with it, or you want water,
Yeah.
price per gallon plus a $50 fee
Yeah.
to have us do it. And does that discourage them? I mean, I don't see members of the community, we doing a kind thing for a little old lady,
Right.
or, that supports, I see private companies coming in and saying, hey, we're looking for the quickest, cheapest way to get our tank. But it's gonna involve us with billing and someone to go down and unlock and then go down and relock. I don't know. But I'd like to think the water department would set up
They don't.
something,
That's why I brought it up today.
Yeah.
Well, if you want, I don't know that we have any more to offer, but if you wanna think about, if we were to put a policy in place, what would that look like? Because you're right, Mike, if you have to send somebody down there to open up. Right.
Yeah, there's a cost to it.
Maybe that would discourage
It's
some of
only
the.
0.007 per gallon, That's not a good recovery right there.
No, but I like you charge a flat fee for the service and hope that covers the cost of the water or whatever,
I
something.
mean, the one that we just did, it more than covered my time and the cost of the water, the $30.
Yeah.
Right. Anything else on that?
That's all I have.
The only thing that, it's been brought up to me twice. Once was several months ago when I was talking about a new building, and then it came up again with the unfortunate incident down in Manchester with the newborn in the pond. Somebody asked me if we were putting a safe haven baby box in our new fire station. And I was like, I don't really even know what you're talking about.
I know what they're talking about.
I do too.
So I went online and looked, and I think there's like 3 in New Hampshire.
I don't know where they are.
They're big cities.
Legally, they can bring babies to the fire station as long as it's manned. Or police station, or hospital.
The law changed today. I haven't even read my email.
Yeah,
They did change that law today, and I think it expanded it, actually.
yeah.
So I don't even know the update on it. Justin sent it out, Romello.
Yeah, I didn't get a
at
chance to read it
4:30
yet.
this afternoon.
Yeah,
I didn't
get a
read
chance
it.
to read it yet.
Anyway, that was I got that question.
There are actually things that you can put in your fire station. It's a real baby box. It's like a cash drawer for a baby.
Right,
Yes.
and it's heated and
Yep.
it's alarmed.
Yep.
Yes.
It's got all that stuff.
Yeah.
I've never looked into it. I don't know what the costs associated with it are, and but if the commissioners want me to do that, I'll do that.
Liability.
Well, there's no
You're out on an 8-hour call.
There's
with
no
full-
liability because once they open the drawer and put a baby in, it's alarmed, so people are notified there's a baby there. And so,
Just hate to think out on a 12-hour fire and somebody put a baby in a safe and
Better than them leaving them on the doorstep.
oh no, I understand that totally.
Yeah. Well, maybe if we were spending a few minutes on looking into that.
It could be a grant-funded thing anyway.
Yes. Well, there you go. We need money for a baby box and then a building to hold it.
Puppy
Yeah,
box,
yeah.
a puppy one and a kitty one.
Yeah.
Which drawer?
Have to work on that.
Alternative finance.
$12 million or $20 million or whatever. So we can install a safe haven baby box. Okay, I'm sorry. Any other new business? All right, hearing none, let's move on to minutes review. Minutes of the March 25th meeting. I only had 2 typos I found, but other than that, the minutes look fine to me. You should have a copy of March 25th.
Yes, everybody got a copy.
I'm just trying to see what the new law is.
The grant for the baby box installation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Installation is $12 million.
That's fine.
You got away with
Safe
that
haven
last
that is
year.
not staffed is not acceptable drop-off location. First responders must receive an infant in an agreed transfer location.
Right, I have just on page 1, where building committee, first sentence, Commissioner Sato commented, the date there's got an extra slash in it.
Oh, yes.
And then if you go to page 4, fire prevention update, about a third of the way down. Was it second sentence? Deputy Chief Elvini also stated, once spring comes and the snow is gone, pictures of the trailer can be put on municipal.
There should be a period
Should be a
there.
period there.
Is that it?
That's all.
Municipal is all eyes.
Is what?
CIBID.
What's spelled?
NICIBI. Okay.
Now, last month, I just noticed that in the previous month, in February, when it said 5 p.m., and we called to order at 5:30. Oops. But that might have been left over from the public hearing, and we got a
Could be.
5 slot.
Oh, yes.
Template.
Mm.
All right, any other, entertaining motion to accept the
I
minutes?
would make that motion as correct for the minutes of 3:25 as amended.
I'll second it.
Okay, motion been made and seconded. Any other comment? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Right, minutes of the non-public.
We didn't have one.
Well, you still have
We-
minutes
right.
because we went into
We
non-public.
went in and off and
Oh,
out.
then,
We were in and out. Record.
Yeah, we popped, it was the
2
fastest
minutes, yeah.
non-public we ever had. Hey, put down, pass it on, please, thank you.
Make a motion, we accept the non-public minutes of 3:25 of Mach. We're traveling at Mach 25.
Glad to hear it.
I'll second that. We'll correct the spelling there.
Yes, please, would you like to circle it in red?
Is this your copy?
That is my copy.
All right, we have a motion made and seconded. Any additional comment? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion
Let's
carries.
see, who made the motion and who seconded it? You made the
I made the
motion.
motion.
All seconded.
Thank you.
All right, we have manifest. Do we have disposition
We
reports?
do,
Document for that?
yes, we do.
Before we do that, Mike, anything you wanted to add?
No? No.
All right, non-public, we're gonna go into, so is anything you had to say
No.
before we go into non-public?
No, thank you very much.
Thank you for being here, appreciate it.
Have a good day, guys.
Thanks, you too, Helen.
Yeah.
The, building committee meets on, the 28th,
Yes, I know that. I can go to that one, I just can't go to the ones that conflict
on
with it.
Tuesday.
Yeah,
Thank you, Helen.
yeah.
All right.
It's called a Safe Haven Infant Safety Device.
Yeah, and I think I saw somewhere they were saying like about $10,000.
I'll look into it, please.
All right, are we ready to go into non-public? I'll make a motion that we go into non-public, seconded by Paul. All right, members present. All right, the reason for going into non-public is RSA 91-A:3 matters which, if discussed in public, would likely affect adversely the reputation of any person other than a member of this board, unless such person requests an open meeting. This exemption shall extend to include any application for assistance or tax abatement or waiver of a fee, fine, or levy if based on inability to pay or poverty of the applicant. Roll call vote, Paul Ogier,
Yes.
Tim Sadler, yes, Jason Wright.
Yes.
All right, public session is entered, non-public session is entered at 6:46 p.m.
All right.
All right, so we have a motion to come out of non-public by Jason, seconded by Paul. Roll call vote to exit public session. Paul Ogier.
Yep.
Tim Sadler, yes. Jason Wright.
Yes.
You mean
Motion
non-public?
passed. What?
You mean non-public?
I'm sorry,
It's okay.
non-public.
6:57.
Matters discussed were disposition reports. And the time is, what are we doing?
6:57.
6:57 p.m. We're not sealing the motion, minutes. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other business?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion's been made,
That's okay.
seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
You turned out.
6:58.
Wow, you guys are getting good.